Hello, I'm Natasha. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk about the current war in Ukraine and the real reason for this war. It always strikes me as really naive when people believe what Western politicians tell them about this conflict. We hear the same fake narrative around defending democracy and human rights for so many conflicts these days. And at this point, it is actually getting pretty boring. Because if you think about it rationally, if the West really cared about democracy, they would try and take out every single dictator in power, like dictators in Saudi Arabia or Qatar, for instance, but they don't. Western leaders lied about Iraq, they lied about Libya, they lied about Syria, and they continue to lie about this conflict. Ukraine has a massive amount of mineral wealth. In fact, there are trillions of dollars of minerals in Ukraine. Senator Lindsey Graham in the US has publicly stated that the US and the West must continue to support Ukraine in a proxy war because it has trillions of dollars of minerals, including strategic minerals for advanced technologies. Ukraine is literally a gold mine, and the West cannot afford to allow its strategic minerals to fall into the hands of Russia and China. Even the Washington Post refers to Ukraine as a battle for mineral and energy wealth. Ukraine harbours tens of trillions of titanium, iron ore, lithium, and coal. It has oil, coal, natural gas, and rare earth minerals, which are essential for aircraft parts and smartphones. Lithium and cobalt are needed for clean energy, for batteries and solar panels, for instance. Rare earth minerals are also essential for high tech components, and the US and Europe are seeking alternative producers for critical minerals. China is a huge part of the global supply chain, and it is responsible for 60% of rare earth minerals. And the West, of course, does not want to be overly reliant on China, which makes the war in Ukraine even more critical for the West. An organisation called the Global Observatory provides timely analysis on issues and trends in international affairs. They wrote a very interesting article on fueling conflict, the role of oil in foreign interventions, and I recommend reading this article if you get the chance. They state when countries become involved in remote conflicts, there is often a significant divide between the justification offered by their governments and what the public perceives to be the motivation for taking action. Perhaps the most widespread and controversial of these suspected motivations is the pursuit of oil. Oil above water is the first statistical analysis to explore whether oil is a motivating factor for military interventions in ongoing civil wars and confirms the suspicions of the public in this area. The study found that oil production and known oil reserves are central factors motivating third party military interventions. More specifically, this study demonstrated that the higher the quantities of oil produced and or owned by a country at civil war, the higher the likelihood of third-party intervention. Moreover, and in accordance with their predictions, they found that the tighter the oil market is, the higher the likelihood of third-party intervention. While other factors also play a role, intervention is approximately 100 times more likely when the country at war has a high value of reserves and the intervening country has high oil imports than when the country at war has no oil reserves and the potential intervener has high oil exports. Now, clearly, like the interventions in Iraq, Libya, and Syria, no doubt Ukraine's massive wealth of resources has been a key driver of this conflict. And this has been admitted by senior figures in the US. And it's not just about the vast amount of minerals and resources that Ukraine has. NATO could use Ukraine to conduct a war with Russia. They could invade Russia through Ukraine, a bit like Nazi Germany did in World War II with Operation Barbarossa. They could cut the south of Russia from the north, cut Russia's access to the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, and the Caucasian countries. They could try and invade Russia to access its massive amount of wealth of natural resources. Russia being the largest country in the world and the one which actually has the most amount of natural resources. Really, you have to consider what greater prize would there be for the West than having access to the richest country in the world.